Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts with a video on this month's visible image artist trading card. The topic this month is 3 of something. I had originally thought to choose some of my beer or wine stamps, but when I received these robin stamps a few days ago, I had ordered them at Christmas, but they weren't delivered until a few weeks ago because the company was taking a Christmas break. I saw these and I thought, oh, I've got 3 robins there, and a robin's not just for Christmas, although it is called Christmas robin, so I decided to use these stamps. And I have decided to layer these, and this is why I have already stamped these on some Gina K Masking Magic. This is very good because it's a low-tack masking paper. It's very easy to remove, but it is safe enough to use lots of ink on it. You can obviously use normal paper, you can use post-it notes, but I find this one works best with projects like this, and I treated myself 1 year to it, so I might just as well use it up. So as I said, I've already stamped these out and I've cut them, fussy cut them. I did cut the feet off though, because the feet will be black. See, I've already mounted them on my blocks, and because the feet are black, I'm not too worried about stamping over the images. And then I've also got the hedgehog dies, hedgehog hugs, and I'm going to use some of the leaf stamps for the background, maybe even the grass, but I don't know about this yet. So as I said, my idea is to layer these. I have put my trading card onto some scrap paper and I glued it down with my removable adhesive, just a roller, just to keep it in place, and I can move it around easily without having to hold it in place because it is so small. And these cutouts allow me now to arrange or plan how to arrange the stamps. So I've already done this. I just want one to be on one side, this one maybe a bit lower, and this one will pop in at the bottom, I think. And I'm going to stamp these now. And I'm starting with the smallest. You always start with what's in the foreground, and then I'm going to mask this. And I had thought about heat embossing it. I might do that as well. I might actually stamp and heat emboss it in clear, because then whatever colour I apply over it won't mix in with the dye or the ink of the stamp. I think I shall do that. And then I'm going to cover this. So I'm going to do this. I will partially speed this up. I hope the heat tool won't make too much noise. I will have to peel it off for that actually when I take it off, but that'll be fine because it's only low-tack glue on the back. So I shall start doing this. When you heat emboss, you've got the choice of using either black ink and clear embossing powder, which I will do, or you can use the embossing ink and black embossing powder. But I find the black embossing powder, if you go over it, sometimes bleeds a little bit, so I prefer this version where I use the clear embossing powder. So I shall do that now. As always, when you do some heat embossing, always use your powder tool. I've got this rabbit hole tool, which I find very useful, but any anti-static tool will actually work. By the way, I'm using some watercolor cardstock. I like the thicker cardstock for these trading cards, but you can always use thinner cardstock and then back it up if you need to. So sorry you can't see this. So I'm just inking up my stamp, just putting him at the bottom here. This is my clear powder. I like to keep them in boxes because I can just apply it over the box and the residue will go straight back in. Bit of a tap. Okay, so I'm going to heat emboss this off screen. I'll spare you the noise and then I'll be back with the next step. So it has warped a bit, the card, but I'm not bothered about it at this current state because I will be doing more heat embossing. So now what's left to do, after this has cooled down, I'm going to peel this off. Actually start, I think, at the top, not at the delicate beak, sorry. Oh, it's a bit tricky. So I'm going to place this over the little robin here. Okay, and now I'm going to come in with the bigger robin, do the same thing, stamping with the black ink, heat embossing with a clear. I'm going to top this with that bit and going to then stamp the biggest one. So I'm going to spare you all this footage and I'll come back when I've stamped and heat embossed them all. So I have stamped and heat embossed all 3 birds, and they have all been covered with the cutouts from the masking magic. So all 3 birds are well covered now. I did decide to go in a bit further with this bird, a bit further than I had planned to start with, because I wanted to have the full effect of the layering, because otherwise the medium-sized bird would not have been covered. So I now have got some inks ready for some background blending. I don't want to do too much, I just want to bring a bit of colour in. So I've got my Elements Paprika, Elements Truffle and my Elements Sundance. I think this will go nicely with a sort of autumny feel before I stamp some of the leaves there. So I'm just going to do this and I'm going to speed this up a bit. Sorry about any noises a bit. I keep my blending brushes just with a bit of plastic on top, and then I'll keep them in a drawer rather than putting them on display on my desk. Oh, by the way, I've put this down again with my stick it removable, because I find that's the best way to work with a small bit. So just going in a bit from the side there. Okay, I think this is enough. As I mentioned to you before, I heat embossed because I find that ink or whatever put on top does take off some of the ink. What I did not take into account is that obviously the ink on the masking magic is exposed, so this did actually bleed a little bit, but I'm not too fussed about this. So pardon me, keep that in mind if you might want to heat emboss on the masking magic as well. Or there are some inks that actually do have an ink which is less likely to bleed, which is this alcohol proof dye. So it promised non-smear with alcohol inks, so it might be a bit better to use that. And I've also just only gone for the red and the yellow because the birds will be brown. So I'm going to stamp now the leaves. I might actually stamp these in brown. I'll have a look now. I haven't used these yet, so keep in mind if you haven't used stamps before, give them a bit of a rub to basically prime them. And I just want to use this just to give them a bit of texture in the background. You see, I'm turning the stamp because then it won't be too even and it won't be too noticeable to start with that this actually is the same stamp. I think I'll leave it there. Because this bird is facing this way, it's actually quite nice to give the face a bit of space there, if you know what I mean. So I can now peel the masking magic off. Be careful that you don't have any ink on your fingers when you do that. You could theoretically reuse these, but this one's actually got extra embossing powder on it, so I'm going to dispose of these. But normally this is quite good to reuse. And as you can see, these are nicely layered now. And I think I will just give them a bit of colour, and just a bit, obviously, the red to make them look like robins, and a bit of brown. I have to decide whether I'm going to use my small daubers or whether I actually will use a brush. I'll have a quick think and then I'll continue my filming. Yeah, so I have decided to use my brush for this, for the colouring in. So I've taken a acrylic block. This is an old one. It's actually already a bit stained, so I use that for colouring in. And all I'm doing is I don't know if you can see that better on the white. So I'm just dabbing my ink pads on the stamp block, and then I can just use a water brush, yeah, the one that's got the water in the compartment, and pick up some colour, release a bit of water in it, pick up the colour, and then you can use this like watercolour, and you can just use this to colour this in. Sorry if the camera's wobbling a bit, it's attached to my desk. So. I could have left the masking magic on these to colour them in individually, but I'm not too fussed now. You can see the outlines, and I think it's fine as it is. So just press your brush a little bit to get the water out, and then you can just loosely go over this. It won't take as much water because it is heat embossed now, so the heat embossing will actually resist the ink. But as you can see, it's very, very easy to colour this in now. Don't even need to be neat. Colouring in a bit where the masking magic didn't quite sit on the tail, just to disguise that a little bit. But I'm leaving a bit of a halo here so this little bird won't get too lost. Yeah, I think it's nearly finished. I will make a decision whether I'm going to put some foil or something on the card just to finish it off, and I'm tempted to use some gold foil on it, but I'll have a think about this, and if I do, I come back, or otherwise this will be the finished card. Anyway, I'll have a chat with you in a few minutes. Okay, so I have decided to put gold embellishments on this with just my two-way zig glue and a scrap of gold foil. So all I need to do is just to decide where I want the accents. Just put a few specks on there just like this. This is blue, the glue, and when it dries clear it becomes tacky and is ready to use, and this is how it works. So I'm not sure that this will work on the embossed bits, so I'm just putting a bit in there, just going along with the direction of the feathers, maybe a bit here. Just wanted a few accents so it's not too black. So it does actually dissolve the yellow ink as well a bit, but I'm not too bothered about that if I go over this now. So all you need to do is just press it down and then peel it off, and I'll show you in a second the accents, because I think you can't see them for now at this angle. So as you can see, it doesn't take long for the glue to dry and be ready to use. So, as I had thought, it doesn't stay well on the heat embossed bits, but that doesn't matter. I just wanted a few specks, and you can see the specks on the leaves, which I think are really nice. If you use the two-way glue and you find that the card is still a bit sticky afterwards, just use your anti-static powder tool and just go over it, and that will take all stickiness off it, and it'll be fine afterwards. So if I touch it now, it's still a bit down there, but it's not tacky anymore. So yeah, I think this is a finished card. I might just put a few white specks into where the eyes are, because I found they got lost a bit. But yeah, that's my finished ATC for this month, and I hope the recipient will like it. So I will send it off as soon as this has dried properly. And yeah, if you like this video, you might want to give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more of my videos, I will obviously be posting more on the visible image stamps, but I'm also using other stamps from other companies. You might want to subscribe to my channel to see more. I'd be very happy about that, and I'll see you soon with the next video.